That gave me a little notch down for me, too. Thank you.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Oil Stream. Dusty and Tommy Gazzola with you. You can text us anytime if you're listening on TuneIn or at iHeart or at Edmonton Sports Talk.com. Fire us a text 780-218-9999. If you're watching over on the Nasty Chat, adios to some of you, I guess, over on YouTube. Hey, how many blocks do you have last night?
I didn't have any.
You didn't block anybody last night?
No.
Good.
There was one person that was kind of cruising for a bruising, as my parents used to say.
Ah, yeah. Cruising for a bruise. Hey, say it in your mom's voice.
You were cruising for a bruising, Tommy.
How could you be intimidated by that?
Never.
No, I would have just laughed. You're hilarious, Mom.
I didn't really get the bruising, but the threat was, you're like, okay, I better stop. But anyway, no, didn't have to. I think Trev, did you, Trev? One guy.
Trev had to block one guy last night, yeah.
Yeah. And I think it was like repetitive posts in the Nasty Chat.
Yeah.
Not like disparaging.
I think there's some bots that are like coming up a little bit.
Are they spamming?
On the lock shop, we had somebody spam the last 2 days.
Oh, that's frustrating.
So, what are you going to do? You can't win them all, right?
I don't want to put people in timeout on YouTube, but like some people are dumb and that's what they're asking for. They are cruising for a bruising, aka YouTube jail. So you're like, all right.
You're cruising for a bruising, I think that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 780-218-9999. If you are watching over on YouTube, hammer the thumbs up for us as well. Mason over there says, just subbed over from iHeart. Hey, thanks, Mason. We appreciate that. We're pushing up towards 8,500 subs. And you may see our ad pop up at some various places now. We're advertising on what? YouTube and Instagram?
Yeah.
So if you see our little commercial online, click and sub. We would certainly appreciate that today. The Oil Stream, as always, brought to you by Boston Pizza. Check out all of the Boston Pizza locations and let their playoff menu fuel your fandom here in the postseason, and what a postseason it has been. But that playoff menu, halftime square footer, they got the flight of wings as well, good. The triple plate platter, and the new chicken quesadillas that they're rolling out over at Boston Pizza. That is a nice, don't just come out with some sort of skimpy little playoff menu. They just hit for the cycle.
Yes.
For a baseball term during hockey playoffs, but that's what happened.
I love the square footer, and my favorite is the buffalo chicken, but the I think it's pepperoni bacon or the meat one. Gager had, and we kind of exchanged a couple slices when we were at the St. Albert location. Shout out to Rob out there. Just delicious, man. So good. And wings, you can really never go wrong with wings, but the square footer has become my go-to at BP.
That's become the go-to?
Yeah.
I'm putting somebody in a timeout right now.
Why? What?
Oh, just cause.
Stupidity?
Oh, yeah, just idiots. Just idiots. I just don't know why you just don't get a life, If you're just going to sit around on YouTube and troll people all day, get a life. It's ridiculous. All right.
I'm looking at the messages.
Yeah.
Why? Why are you like this?
I don't know why some people get like that.
We want to have a nice Friday. Why are you being like that, you?
All right, this text is in. The inbox is moving early. 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. Eden is in. It says, afternoon, boys. I thought last night was a very well-defended game played by the Oilers, but neither team brought their A game.
True.
I also thought that McDavid is clearly fighting through something, be it an injury or a sickness. I thought both teams brought at least their B game.
Yeah.
B plus. I thought that was just a really well-played hockey game last night.
It was entertaining, back and forth. What I appreciated from an Oilers standpoint was when they had the 2-1 lead in the third period, they were still pressing. They weren't going all out attack, obviously, but they were still pressing, getting some offensive zone time. But when Dallas started to take over and push for the equalizer, which they eventually got, yes, we could talk about that goal, certainly, and I think we should and will. But Edmonton in the first 5 to 10 minutes was still getting into the offensive zone, still getting a little bit of zone time. But then they were obviously losing the face-off battle, and possession was definitely going Dallas's way, and they managed to swing the momentum. I like the way Edmonton defended, and then, a fortuitous bounce, but compounding mistakes, I said it on the Hangout, led to that equalizer. Tyler Seguin, Johnny on the spot again last night. Good players find a way. And then in overtime or double OT, we saw Connor McDavid, Johnny on the spot. Good players find a way. To me, that winner, it's not Gretzky 88 clapper, the perfect shot, but that is like a magic moment for a superstar player. And the championship caliber guys who have done it all have those magic moments in the heat of battle in the postseason, and that was one for McDavid.
I still can't believe he didn't bury that first one.
I know. And
the
look on his face in the penalty box, too, during the 4 minute.
What a roller coaster for McDavid last night.
Such a fun game to watch.
Oh, man. 6 more of those. I know Oilers fans want 3 more of those. I get it. But I mean, as long as the hockey keeps going like it did last night, I think everybody's going to be pretty pleased with it. Let's just get the equalizer. You said you want to get to it. I want to make sure we get to it before I forget or something. Or
sure.
Scottie Upshall is going to join us in about 5 minutes from the Missing Curfew podcast. We'll get his thoughts on the series so far. The podcast, they're almost at 300 episodes on Missing Curfew. That's going really well for them.
They're crushing
Part of the DK network. So we'll get into that a little bit. So are you looking at the defenseman in front? And neither really picking up a guy, that's more trying to play the puck.
There's a few things that led to that. And then I know a lot of people yesterday on the post-game show were texting in and saying, what's Darnell Nurse doing? Why is it always Darnell Nurse? Jay on the Hangout was kind of bringing it up, his mother-in-law. Why can't the Oilers hold a lead in the third? I'll just start with no lead has been safe in this postseason, not just in Oilers games, for the Oilers, against the Oilers, but across the playoffs in the NHL. The leads have been, busted and broken and slipped away a lot. But the Oilers were getting hemmed in. Vinny Desharnais had a tough sequence.
Yeah.
He was getting beat to pucks. I don't know how long he was out prior to them getting hemmed in. Him and Nurse had a couple of opportunities to get the puck out, and then right before the goal and the shot towards the net that Nurse tried to block and kicked right to Seguin, Desharnais made a soft play, chipped it kind of to the sidewall to nobody, went right to the Stars. They kind of regroup, get the shot towards the net. Yes, Nurse tries to block it, ends up inadvertently kicking it to Seguin. Yes, Desharnais not picking up the rim. He shoulder checked too.
A couple times.
Saw
and didn't go.
Seguin.
Yeah.
And then, but he had a guy to his left, and Darnell was coming back towards the house.
Nurse takes that guy. He takes a couple steps
Both
over, ties
guys
up
get
Seguin's
caught
stick.
in no man's land. Exactly. It's just compounding mistakes. I think that's a perfect example of it, as Matt Cassian would talk about. So there was a bunch of stuff there that no fault of Stu Skinner's, who had an excellent game, by the way. Good to see him have that type of game. And, hey, they won.
780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. We'll get to some of your other comments here. Chaos Never Died says, Vinny's weak clear caused the goal. Be Mother Review says, what about the defensive wizard Tanev missing assignment on McDavid twice in overtime? I didn't hear the broadcast criticize him.
Hey, and that's a good example of it happens to the best guys too. Tanev had a brilliant play getting his stick on the McDavid opportunity alone in front.
On the
with Ottinger getting across, McDavid taking that extra second. But that was Chris Tanev. Didn't pick up McDavid. McDavid kind of.
What was it? Him and Lindell, 2 goals.
Yeah.
Against in the rest of the playoffs, 5-on-5.
3 last night.
And then, that's that was a little bit of a tough look for those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, great news for the Edmonton Oilers that they're able to produce with those guys out there on the ice. Tom, we talked about it earlier today. What was the biggest thing? What was the best thing coming out of that game for the Oil, in your opinion? I mean, Skinner, the PK. I mean, there's a bunch of things outside of the dub.
Resiliency, I think, is an confidence boost. Not that they shouldn't have a confidence boost. They put together a pretty damn good game. Now, they weren't perfect. There are things that were not particularly great. But, A, you get the split already. B, you show you can hang with the Stars. I agree both teams weren't at their best. I thought Dallas was sloppy off the start. But this should give you a little bit of mojo. and a good vibe going into the rest of the series. And you know what you need to bring, and you know what you need to elevate within your game in Game 2, because I think Dallas is going to be sharper, especially out of the gates. But you have to feel good about a lot of things. The PK is now a new franchise record. What was it, 18 or 19 straight that they've killed off? Everybody pulling together. There weren't really any passengers, I think, for the most part. A few guys you can point to saying, yeah, that was tough. Kulak had a tough night, but just the good vibe that came.
He hasn't had many tough nights.
And that was one. That was a rare one.
Yeah, I love the fact that they played 4 periods and then a little bit. And McDavid played 27 minutes.
Yep.
Like 27. They played that in regulation against the Canucks.
Correct.
You know, like the fact that as a team, they won that game and he played 27 and Draisaitl only played 25 minutes. That just would have never, ever, ever happened with these teams the other years.
Right.
Right. They go to this overtime. McDavid's out there for 35 minutes. Played 27 last night. Limited power play opportunities as well. What do you think of the officiating last night?
The bar is set so low.
Yeah.
Aim low and achieve, like I said on the post-game show last night, and they achieved.
It's wild that the Stars can play 80 minutes and not take a real penalty.
I know. The Kane penalty, you can't get your butt into a guy's face. The Holloway one, didn't like, obviously. The Bouchard one, I know everyone's like, well, he didn't even make contact. These guys, these refs, and we should know this by now, but we expect better. Unfortunately, they don't live up to it. The ref doesn't see that there's no contact, sees the action where the level of the stick from Bouchard was.
It hits his knee, though. Yeah.
It hits his knee, not his stick, not his hands, but the arm goes up. And then the call and the review on the 4-minute, that one's tough because they did the review. And regardless of McDavid's stick being held by Duchesne, you can't call that on the review. You can only call a high stick. So aim low and achieve, and the NHL officials certainly lived up to that.
780-218-9999. 780-218-9999 is the oil stream presented by Boston Pizza. Nielson and Gazzola with you today. All right, let's get to a couple of your text messages. This one from the 403 area code. Skinner and the D played great last night. Let's hope they have 7 more of them in them this playoff. 7 more, of course, would win the entire thing. This one is in from Nizam this afternoon. Boys, great game, great performance by Skinner. The reffing was horrible. Dallas took more than one too many men penalty. I feel like there could have been 1 or 2 else out there. Guys, that third pairing of Petrovic and Sutter has me licking my chops. Knobloch was hungry at the end of the period when they were stuck out there, and he loaded up the big line.
Yes.
So you got to find those opportunities against that pairing,
yes,
right?
Absolutely. Tough when you're on the road, obviously, but if you get the chance, absolutely. Good on Petch for sticking with it. I talked about it. Good Northside boy. Grew up with my brother, and I'm happy to see him back in the NHL. And he's got a lot of family and friends who are monster Oiler fans, so conflicted.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to lose to anyone, that's probably what they say there. Safety Bob is in and says, good afternoon, boys. Just bought me and my boy tickets to Game 4. We'll be driving up from Calgary and heading home the same day, work and school. My question is, with the way the fourth line played, why would you ever change it? If and when Henrique comes back, who do you take out? The fourth line was fantastic. P.S. McLeod with 5 hits. Maybe he was listening to the show and heard all my bitching about him. I mean, probably not, but thanks to the text, Safety Bob. I mean, the fourth line.
They've been good.
They've been good.
Yeah.
They've been good, and it changes everything because then you just don't have to keep rolling McDavid out and Draisaitl out back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You can throw out Carrick and Janmark, like what we're saying here. Carrick and Janmark and Brown played from
good.
there. I mean, from what we've watched them do this year, they played a hell of a game last night.
So either you're giving Adam Henrique another day or 2 of rest, if you want to look at it like that. But I think if he's ready, you're putting him in.
He's ready, you want him in.
You're upgrading your lineup.
But last night's game makes it more difficult than the decision we had before the game being like, who comes out?
Do you take out Derek Ryan? But Derek Ryan was good last night, too, on the third line. I think it's still Connor Brown.
It's probably still Connor Brown.
If you like what Carrick's giving you. Or maybe
it might be Carrick.
I don't know, man.
Whatever. I mean, we'll see what happens. It's one game in. Dallas was down 2 against Vegas, came back. Was down against Colorado, came back. They're going to be an extremely tough out. But I think it was a little bit of an eye-opener for a lot of people. What was it? ESPN, 80% of their staff and their analysts had the Stars winning it. So I think maybe that might probably change their minds a little bit as far as what type of series it'll be, but
who cares?
It'll be good, man. Looking forward to it. You can text us anytime, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Zach, is Scottie good to go? Yeah. All right, let's bring in Scottie Upshall, Missing Curfew podcast, Fort McMurray guy. Played for the Oil Barons. I did Oil Barons play-by-play for a couple of years. I met my wife at Patty's in Fort Mac. True story.
I love it. By the way, Shane O'Brien, my boy here at Missing Curfew, he's like, you have a bar named Patty McSwiggins in Fort Mac? It's like a staple for him. I think he was more excited to hear that than he was to like actually go to the motherland, Ireland last summer on a golf trip.
Wow.
He's like, I got to get there.
I mean, Patty's was pretty good. Patty's was pretty good. Like, it was
good live music.
Yeah.
Good live music. Yeah.
They always had good bands in there. Yeah. How much you get back up, Fort Mac? How much you get back up there?
It's been a minute, man. It's been a minute, unfortunately. My brother's up there with his 3 daughters. My mom and dad recently moved back to Newfoundland full time.
Oh, wow.
He retired from Syncrude. So I got to get up there, man. It's such a great community, and there's great people there. A lot of my friends have left, or they got those full-time jobs working shift work, so I don't get to see them much when I'm there. But yeah, very proud of being from Fort Mac in Northern Alberta, boys.
Yeah, you gotta catch them when they're on their 2 days off. Work 24 and have 2 off.
Yeah.
Those are tough days to schedule, man.
I've never been to Fort Mac.
You've never been to Fort Mac? You lived here your entire life.
I know, 38 years.
You never played hockey in Fort Mac?
Never once.
Wow, that's weird.
Went to GP.
Yeah, but not Fort Mac.
No, I lived in Oklahoma during the lockout. I lived in Lloyd. Went to Lloyd to play there.
But you never
been to
that's
Fort
weird.
Mac.
All right. Well,
sorry. I apologize to everybody in Fort Mac. You learn something new every day.
Sorry you have to be here when we learn this, Scott.
I apologize.
That's tough. Yeah.
That's a bad on me.
Yeah. We want to get into the Oilers and Stars for sure, but you guys have been doing, you're almost on like 300 episodes, Missing Curfew. Like, this is a pretty good run you guys put together here.
God, I think so, man. Yeah, it's been a good stretch. We enjoy it. You're tuned in live from my studio here before my Friday golf game. But we're down here in Orange County, man. We love living in Newport Beach. I got 2 young kids here now. And listen to podcasts. We're doing 2 shows a week for DKN, DraftKings Network. Yep. You can listen to them all over the place, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Tunes, but it's more about getting on the road for us. The Fella Tour, listen, we stopped in, watched Edmonton. We watched them lose game 1, giving up that 4-1 lead, but then, coming back and winning in overtime with Boosh, in game 2, which was awesome. But Vancouver was a great place to go watch some playoff games. I'm just thrilled, man. I'm thrilled to watch Western Conference Finals here with our squad in, and it's a great time to be alive in Northern Alberta.
Oh man, it is. There's no doubt about that. And it was funny. Like, what were your thoughts heading in? We'll get to last night's game, but heading into the series, were you thinking, like, a lot of people were thinking the Oilers were kind of decent sized underdogs, and they were betting underdogs and everything against the Stars. We thought here, and it might have been a homer take, that it's going to be a coin flip type of series. But what was your mindset on it heading in?
Yeah, well, if you look at the line, and we'll just talk about that now because we're a DraftKings podcast, but the line, like, how many times down the stretch since the first 20 games were the Oilers underdog, right? Maybe 6 in any of their games. Like, I don't know the exact number, but it's a pretty substantial number. Anytime you're going to take the Oilers in a series as an underdog, I think you're getting good value. Witnessing Connor and Leon play hockey so far, I went and seen them in LA, and I've seen them, in Edmonton up close and personal. These guys are on a whole other level. They're on a mission. They've really got now not only a city, but a country behind their back. And I think if you're a hockey fan, you want to see Connor McDavid lift the Stanley Cup. I think that's the big question, or that's the big kind of like goal here. So I guess looking at the series, to answer your question, looking at the series, Dallas is deep. They got great goaltending. I think their D are great. But I had a conversation with Ken Hitchcock yesterday, boys. Funny like story. But I text Ken and I'm like, you got to reminisce hard about this series, Oilers versus Dallas, right? It's got to bring back some memories. So he calls me. I don't talk to Hitch all the time, but he calls me. And I'm like, you used to call me to make sure I'm staying in for curfew is what he used to call me for. But now he's like, he breaks down the series. He talks a little bit about, he thinks Dallas, without Rope Hintz and without Hakanpää in the back end, that they don't have the size and the speed up the middle of the ice to handle either Connor or Leon on the ice for, say, 30 minutes a game. And witnessing it last night, what I saw last night was just a team that kind of said, hey, we're the underdogs. Let's go play a good road hockey game. And the D for Edmonton found a way to just smother, Dallas. Their penalty kill was great, and it has been great all playoff series. But they proved that like their D can kind of contain this so-called deep four lines that Dallas, provides. And I was pumped to see the way that they handled the game one. It's anyone's series, but for all the critics out there saying that Dallas is just a better team, deeper team, I think last night proved that they're not.
Scottie, I'll throw this at you on that topic because we hear, especially from outside of this market in Western Canada, it's like, Edmonton's top heavy, and we acknowledge that. We understand, and I think that'll be the rhetoric with this team because of McDavid and Draisaitl as long as they're on this team together. But when you look at Edmonton and its forward unit, what are the indicators to you that might suggest the contrary, that they do have some depth as well, that they might be able to counter Dallas's depth with some waves of their own? What would indicate that to you from looking at this Oilers team?
Yeah, you know what? I go back to the second round where, Knobloch had to split up Connor, Hyman, and Leon. Yeah. And, how do they split them up? Okay, we're going to put Nuge. We're going to put Nuge with Hyman, and because Nuge can play with anybody. By the way, Nuge is an incredible player.
Yeah.
When I was up there for training camp, watching him daily in practice, he's just a beast. He's just such a good two-way player. So anyway, that line is perfect, right? You got Connor, Nuge, and Hyman. But who's going to be the guy that can step up and play big, heavy minutes and be like a line that's not only offensive, because you got Draisaitl, who is the best playoff guy in the last 10 years in the NHL, but who is, big enough, strong enough, smart enough, offensive enough to play with, Kane and Draisaitl. And what Dylan Holloway's done, boys, I always love this kid. I love the way he skates. It's funny because all the young kids that come up, the stars on their team, they look up to them so much that they start to play like them. Mm-hmm. And when I seen McLeod come up, he looked like McDavid. When I seen Dylan Holloway come up and the way he skates around and like he's got he's got a sexy playing style. Like it's a good looking playing style. I like the way he hits. He goes to the net. He fights for pucks. He wins battles. And so him coming in and providing that like secondary, just that secondary cushion for the Oilers to be able to say, okay, now these are our two lines. Stop us. Mm-hmm. That's what's been the big change. And then, I heard you guys just speaking earlier, like, we've got Henrique coming back, and, Henrique has been good, but, his boots aren't as fast as they used to be.
Yeah, that's true. Call
it what it is. Whatever injuries he's dealing with right now, if it's a groin or hip, I don't know. Maybe you guys know. I don't know, but speculating. The lineup they have right now has played some good hockey. Game 6, Game 7, Game 1 does 3 great games. Connor Brown, is he the sexiest looking hockey player out there? Definitely not. No. Like, does he make some mistakes? He just skates around and like tips pucks out, ices a puck here and there. I know what that's all about. But like sometimes you question it. And Sam Carrick, great player, provides them some toughness. He doesn't quite have his legs yet because he hasn't played, and he is getting his legs back. And the team, you can see the team plays different with him in the lineup, right? Doesn't mess up the first two lines. He battles pucks down deep. You can tell like his lungs aren't quite where they need to be, and they'll get there. But I just like it. I like the fact that they replaced Corey Perry, with Ryan, who I love. I love Ryan. I love what he does. He's a little water bug out there, but he's efficient, and he's a great penalty killer, and he takes draws. He's a righty, and he's not as scared to hit, to throw his body around. You need guys to do that. But that what I've just said there, that's depth. That's playoff depth. They're going to need all those guys. And, a guy like Janmark, who's, he's a dinosaur out there. He's played against Dallas. No one probably wants to win this series more than him, right? So you got to keep him in the lineup. He's a guy that, he might miss a few passes here and there, but boy, if the puck's on his stick and a scoring chance, he's been there before. He knows what to do. Plays the right way. So anyway, I love what they're doing right now. My question is just, can they limit these mistakes on the back end? Can the D just get it off the fucking? Sorry, I'm not allowed to swear.
That's okay. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, you can get away with it. Or we usually don't drop them, but you can do it here. Yeah, that's
okay.
We're good.
No
yeah.
CRTC regulations today.
Yeah.
Off the glass and out, fellas. Don't throw pizzas.
Yeah.
Don't throw pizzas up the middle of the ice. Like don't open up with a rolling puck on your stick and think you got to go cross ice. That's not how we're going to win. We're not going to beat Dallas that way.
Yeah, I think Scottie dropped one at our old shop too, and
on the radio that would have been different. That would have been different.
At 1260.
Yeah. Since our radio station got shut down and we went independent, we have a little bit more leeway.
I like it.
Okay.
That's true.
Man, I got to know, as a group. Considering Skinner gets the net back in game 6 and 7, wasn't tested a lot. What does last night's game for a goalie do for the rest of the group, the way Skinner played last night?
Well, he got pucks on him early and he made some good saves, and that's for a goalie, that's everything. That's your confidence right there. I think the TNT panel described it best last night. Hank always gives a really good breakdown of what's going on, not only in the goalie's mind, but in how he's feeling and playing and moving. And Biz, leave it up to Biz to have this great analogy too. But Vancouver didn't put any pucks on Skinner in those games where he can go 6-7 minutes without feeling it. And now Dallas, they are, they get to the net. Look at, Seguin scores 2 goals in front of the net. Jamie Benn's not moving, right? He's a Zach Hyman in there. He's going there with his big ass and he ain't moving. And then Robertson's a guy, you give him an inch around that net, it's coming out in front of the blue paint. Wyatt Johnson's an incredible offensive gifted player. Mm-hmm. So these guys now, they're going to put pressure on the Oilers D. And I think that's a big area of what this playoff battle will consist of is those battles in front of the Oilers net. But Skinner, he smothered pucks, boys. He didn't look like he was getting twisted around on rebounds. He made a great save, I think, early on Ben. That was a screen. He caught it. And that sort of thing gives not only, Skinner confidence, but the whole team going, okay, we're not going to be letting in any softies tonight. If we go put a couple in the net, we're going to be good.
Scottie, before I let you go, I just got to ask, because I've done play-by-play for the Spengler Cup 5 times now. And you were over there. You played in Ambry for a little bit, right?
Ambry Piotta.
Yeah.
You're damn right. Yeah, it was great.
How was that? Because that's why it's a village, right? And they won the Spengler 2 years ago. Village. It was insane. It was nuts. Everybody was crying. It was insane. But what was that like? Because you're playing in a village in the Swiss Alps.
Yeah, I mean, incredible tradition there. Shout out to just their fan base. It's been around 100 years, right? Ambry Piotta Hockey Club. It's a little village about 45 minutes, an hour north of Lugano, on your way basically from the Italian part of Switzerland into the belly of Switzerland, right? So, I lived in Lugano, thankfully, because I wasn't much of a villager. I need a little action. I was only about a 40-minute drive from Milan, which was great. If you know about international models and that whole thing, it's an incredible place. Good shopping, restaurants, culture, great. But the hockey, indoor outdoor rink, right?
Yeah.
This rink was you've probably been there, but it's open to a mountain. So any sort of snowfall, you get that fresh blow of snow, in the one zone, which was our end. It was freezing. You practice with a toque on, neck warmer, hand warmers. I mean, listen, boys, I was at the end of my career thinking, I gotta go live somewhere else. This is going to be great.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. Had the old, COVID, the old virus not attack us, I'd still be over there trying to battle it out for more Spengler Cups, because it was great to wear the jersey again, the Canadian jersey, play with some great players, some young players that were still in Switzerland, some ex-NHLers. Sorry, boys, that's my phone. I don't know if you could hear that.
No, it was good.
But anyway, it was great. Finally, a gold medal, with the Team Canada jersey on. I've had enough silver medals, so this was it was a good way to go out.
I want to throw one quick one at Scottie, because you talk about the action, having fun, especially when you're playing somewhere. I remember going to McGillen's old ale house, and they had this laminated sheet of notable people that come in and visit, and there was Jeff Carter, Mike Richards.
You're talking Philly, right?
Philly.
Talking old school bar.
Scottie Upshall, and they had Jeffrey Lupul, and I was like, oh, that's funny. They got Lupul's name wrong. And no surprise seeing those guys' name on there. Great spot, but
we went there 2 nights.
We went there a whole bunch of times. And when I was on the road with the team, I'd always go there too.
That's a fun spot, man.
That's a grimy spot, boys.
No surprise.
Yeah, that's a dirty spot.
All right, man. Keep up good work.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, boys.
Yeah,
it's a great time. Great time to have an Edmonton Oilers, show for you guys. Lots to talk about. So,
we're cruising along here. It's going really well, man. We picked the right year to launch something like this, so it's going really good. Keep up the good work. Missing curfew, man. We'll catch up again. There you go. That is Scottie Upshall.
Awesome.
Looks like he's heading off to the links. Man,
Lucky.
you mentioned, what was the name in the...
McGillen's Old Ale House. And it's like,
God.
I just remember, I'm reading the beer menu. I'm like, all right, this place is, like Scottie said, greasy.
Yeah.
And it's like a couple hundred years old. It was
down like a side alley.
It's
right. You could only get
tiny,
into it down the side.
And it's wedged between like office towers.
Yeah.
And you go in there.
2 floors.
Yeah. It was built in 1860. And I remember we met some Irish girls there, and they couldn't understand a word they were saying, and they drank us under the table. We were on a baseball trip the first night we went there. Then you and I went there at the draft a couple times.
2 nights in a row we went there.
And then whenever we went to Philly, we'd pop in there. But they had like this list of notable Philadelphia people and like stars and notable people that have come and hung out there. And they had like 6 guys from the Flyers during the late 2007 to about 2015. I was there in 2011 the first time. And it's like Mike Richards, Jeff Carty, Scottie Upshall, Jeffrey Lupul. And I remember laughing like, Jeffrey Lupul instead of Joffrey. And then seeing those guys' names there, I was like, yeah, no surprise.
Awanik was with us at that draft.
He was.
Awanik came with me to that draft, and I remember he came out with us those nights. And Maddie's not like a crazy party animal. And I like to get after it a little bit. And I remember Matty just sort of was like a wallflower.
Yeah.
And he said, I was just watching you, and you were all over the place. I was like, yeah, I love that place a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the night. That was a Philly draft. I got a picture in the street holding up another man like a baby. like a random. I didn't even know who he was. It was just like, just holding another grown-ass man in my arms like a child. And that was outside. That was outside that bar. That was a good time. If you ever go to Philly, go check that place out.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's right downtown, McGillen's Old Ale House, and it like pop in for a pitcher of beer or whatever, just because it's neat. It's 160 years old now.
Yeah, think about the parties that used to be back then.
Think about the weird crap that happened there.
Oh, wow, yeah, cool place.
Yeah,
if you're into history, you should definitely go check it out.
Yeah.
Our portions of the Oil Stream are brought to you by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen. If you've not yet tried their crispy buffalo chicken wrap, you are missing out. Pair it with the buffalo poutine as well. I know Furby and the crew over at Popeyes have to be extremely excited about what they're seeing with the Edmonton Oilers. They're great partners with the Oilers. We had the cups, and they did car flags last year. And Popeyes is obviously pulling for the Edmonton Oilers here as well. What'd you think of what Upshall said about his chat with Hitch yesterday about without Rupe Hintz and without Hakanpää? That's 2 pretty big bodies that they might have trouble dealing with the Oilers without those guys.
Nailed it. Obviously, Hitch is a guru of hockey, but you think about the things that Rupe Hintz brings to the table: speed and skill. One of their best players, if not their best player right now. Jason Robertson's excellent. Wyatt Johnson on a heater, obviously. But Hintz, I think back to the games against Edmonton, how many times Cass and I on a post-game show had to talk about Rupe Hintz finding a seam and cutting through Oilers' defense, catching a pass for a breakaway and scoring. And he's done it so many times that they're missing that kind of layer of attack. So, yes, Hintz apparently might be available for Game 2. No surprise. Hakanpää on the back end is just a huge human being, not taking anything away from Alex Petrovich, but Hakanpää compared to Petch, who's played the last 5 years in the AHL, like I mentioned, there's a difference there and disparity, and Petch is doing everything he can. Basically, the Stars are rolling with 5D, sprinkling in a little bit of Petch, and Ryan Suter being 38, 39 now. He's not the guy that was in Nashville 10 years ago. He was not the guy that went to Minnesota on a big ticket.
Yeah.
That's a pairing you got to key in on. Even when Hakanpää comes back, I think that the Oilers would have to go at that third pairing and attack it with speed. Petch is a big guy as well, and he's a little bit older, but I don't think that the strategy changes. Maybe Hakanpää could be a little bit more mean in front of the house as opposed to Petch, but Petch can bring it.
780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Smitty the Welder's in it says, guys, the depth is better for Dallas is just a lazy take. Well, that's what a lot of people were saying.
That's why I asked about that.
No, it's a good question because I think when you look at the roster, I mean, Dallas is a very deep team. They are.
Yes.
I mean, the forward group's very deep. With Roope Hintz there, they're even more insanely deep.
Yes.
But watching the game last night, Tommy, there also wasn't one line that really put the fear of God into me if I'm the Edmonton Oilers. You know what I mean? Like, good lines, but I didn't think there was one line that destroyed them and owned them all night.
No, and maybe that talks to or speaks to what Scottie was chatting about, saying that Edmonton's D was able to smother Dallas pretty well. And I don't know how much, I agree with him, but I don't know how much of it was, hey, Dallas wasn't that sharp to get things going because they waited 6 days to play their next game, or how much of it was Edmonton's D being super effective at taking away any potential opportunities from the Stars. And you think of the Stars' goals last night, what did they come off of? Oilers' mistakes, gaffes, right? So that's A, credit to Edmonton's team defense and the back end doing a great job. B, maybe a little bit Stars being sloppy, but I feel like Pete DeBoer and his staff are going to look at yesterday's tape and adjust the way they attack Edmonton tomorrow night.
D. White is in and says, Brown played more minutes than Ryan, Janmark, Fogle, McLeod, and Carrick. I don't see him coming out when Henrique comes in. Here's the latest on Henrique. I'm sure other people have it. I just happen to have it pop up in front of me from Elliot Friedman. Knobloch says Oilers have a decision to make on Adam Henrique. He's thinking about inserting him in Game 2. Called him 98%, but added a bit more time would make him 100%. So that kind of sounds like a coach who's like,
do I mess with the good thing?
If he doesn't play tomorrow, that's another 2 days off, with that and then the day off. Mm-hmm. You already got the split at worst in Dallas. If he's at 98%, do you play him, Tommy? Do you think they'll play him at 98, or do you just kind of...
I still think that they're a better team with him in.
Yeah. What a spot we're in when, it sounded like Upshall was like, I don't know what you do.
We don't
take him out now, right? They've won 3 in a row here.
You're a better team with him.
Yeah.
Now, where's the right fit with the way the team's playing?
Interesting from D. White to point out that Connor Brown played more,
Yes, but
how much more, though?
They had, 5 penalty kills?
Yeah, but a bunch of those guys are penalty killers, though, right?
Brown is.
Yeah, Brian, but McLeod and Fogle are.
Yeah.
What'd you think of McLeod and Fogle last night?
Adequate.
They were around it a bit, right?
Didn't really hurt them. I think what did Fogle have? That one wraparound attempt, and he had a good carry to the net. Outside of that, they just filled their hole in the lineup, or just filled the spot, did their job.
I think Carrick is going to come out.
Yeah, maybe. And then Ryan back to center, fourth line.
You go Ryan center, the fourth line with Brown and Janmark. Henrique center, throw McLeod on the wing, and Fogle on the other side.
Okay.
I think that's probably what happens. And then if you get to a spot where you feel like you need the physicality of Carrick, you can slide him back in there.
Carrick last night.
I don't know what my answer would be to this.
Carrick last night, 2 shots, 4 hits.
Yeah, I like him. I liked him.
63.6% on the dot.
Ooh. I mean, but you're bringing back in a guy that you gave up a first-round pick to get. This is it's Adam Henrique.
But I don't think you're looking at it what did we sack? You're looking at it okay, now you need to win. How much? Where does he make us better? I think he makes. You're not thinking about the first rounder right now in this situation.
No, but
right?
I'm just trying to put the level
Optically,
of that. Henrique is better than these guys.
Yes.
He's significantly, he's supposed to be significantly better than these 3 guys that we're talking about.
Right. Which he is.
I think Knobloch would take Carrick out. I think I'd take Brown out.
Yep.
And then
how was it?
Have Derek Ryan slide down and play with Carrick and Janmark. That's what I do, but
Ryan was crushing it on the 75% on the dot.
Yeah, so like
I got to look at how many
you
face-offs
keep
he
Ryan
took,
and Carrick in there. Both of those guys can take face-offs for you. You put them together on the line. I think he's going to take Carrick out if Henry comes back in, but I think I take Brown out.
Ryan took 8 draws too, and he won 6.
Yeah.
Carrick took 11, and he won 7. Man, he was good. You know who was struggling on the dot? Draisaitl. And we saw the thing with his finger. 28%. Won 8, lost 21.
I asked on Twitter who comes out. Beer guy Chris says Brown. Artorius Jenkins says Fogle, despite his good game last game, or Ryan if maybe he needs a break. Mike says Brown, no question. Sergeant Obvious says got to keep Carrick in. The dude's a dog on the puck. Brown would come out. And Captain Canada, Fogle or McLeod, something's got to give it that third line. They get caved every game. I don't think they're getting caved every game. I haven't looked at it. I mean, maybe they are like analytically, but McLeod is scared to get hit or lay a hit. I think he had 5 hits last night. I thought he was a little bit more engaged there last night.
He had to be.
Yeah.
No ifs, ands, or buts. Yeah, he did have 5 hits.
Fogel's offense has disappeared, and Fogle had a great chance last night.
He did have a
Took off from Heiskanen, too.
Yep.
And a little bit of a jump with the way things were going there, but couldn't
Holloway
bury.
had a great chance.
Oh, right after they tied it.
Yeah, nice save. Nice save by Ottinger. Man, Holloway.
He's looking good, eh?
Yeah.
It's
popping.
It's just like, it's just, yeah. Some people have been saying he's going to pop for 2 years, and he's finally popping. He's popping right now. He's popping. Big Slam Nasty over on YouTube. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, hammer the thumbs up for us here on the Oil Stream. Sub to the channel if you haven't already. We would appreciate that as well. Big Slam Nasty says, Henrik in, Perry in. No one isn't asking the real question. Why is JF Jocks not getting a look?
Great question.
The Worm says, same take, Brown out, keep Carrick in.
I don't mind it.
Yeah.
I know that someone brought it up about Brown playing more minutes, but that's good. I wouldn't justify keeping him in on that, though. Still hasn't been elevated to Peter Klima status, by the way.
No, I don't. I'm starting to not think he gets there. I'm starting to not think that he's able to get.
I'm going to get to this one. Jason says, "Have you guys talked about why Draisaitl seems to get thrown out of the face-off dot so much?"
We've done it a couple times, haven't we?
The linesmen are annoying as you know what, and just drop the damn puck. I say it every time. B, sometimes it's guys encroaching and they get Leon thrown out. Sometimes it's Leon, trying to. I don't know if he has a little routine. He tries to fake out the opposing centerman, and linesmen get annoyed and throw him. The linesmen just drop the damn puck, you idiots. I'm sorry. Just drop the damn puck.
Bowen says, guys, I'm not sure I'd mess with the best penalty kill in recent memory. But if I have to pick, it's 37 or 71, despite them playing their best games in the playoffs last night. You need some third line offense. But I think your best chance at getting that third line offense though comes with Henrique between McLeod and Fogle.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's probably what you would view there as well. The Worm says Fogle was good last night. Besides missing on a break, he was moving last night. I thought Fogle had a pretty good game last night. So, B Mother Review says, guys, I was wrong on Holloway. I didn't think he would contribute. Nice to have his speed and tenacious play. It's nice to admit that. Like I did not think Dylan Holloway would look like this in these playoffs.
Good point. But you knew he had this game within him because he never backs down. He gets knocked down and he gets right back up.
We just hadn't seen it yet, right?
He has his battle level that I like. You heard Scottie Upshall earlier talking about guys kind of looking like the skilled players when they come to a team. Ryan McLeod trying to be McDavid-like and Dylan Holloway looking around trying to figure out what he wants to be. But he has that tenacity, can play the physical game, has the edge, has the speed, does have a little bit of touch around the net with the puck, and then has a good shot when he can uncork it. Now he's just starting to find that rhythm at this level, which is great. But it's that willingness to compete like a dog on a bone that I always liked about him, and it was just a matter of him having it, the light go off in his head where he figures it out at this level, and it seems like that is happening right before our eyes. And there were some who kind of were like, this guy, it's never going to happen, and it hasn't happened yet. It's like, well, wait, he's been hurt. It is clicking, and it's good to see, and I like the way he is maintain that pursuit of finding his game at the NHL level. It's a damn good one.
I'm excited to see what he does next year. I know this season's far from over and everything, but I'm really excited to see what he does next year.
I'm excited to see what he does in game 2.
Yeah, well, you're in the here and now. That's where you live.
Be in the now.
That's where you live.
Be in the now.
I like that. Portions of the Oil Stream are brought to you by our partners over at Coolbet. If you've not yet signed up for an account, go to coolbet.com. Use the code LOCKSHOP when you do. The Edmonton Oilers have gone from underdogs to now minus 192 favorites in the series against the Dallas Stars. I know, Tommy, it's just one game. But what a huge game. Dallas has now to take 4 of 6 from the Oilers.
Sure, but they can.
Yeah.
They did against other teams.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
They took 4 of 5 from Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. Dallas is coming back strong. You thought they were good in the third period yesterday and in OT. Expect the same tomorrow. Dallas is going to be better. Guaranteed.
Yeah, I don't want to be sitting here going, I'm going to say it this way. I expect it to be a split coming back to Edmonton as opposed to, I think the Edmonton Oilers are going to lose game 2. I'll just say, I think it'll be a split coming back. They got the one. I would probably think the sense of urgency on Dallas is through the roof in game 2.
Yep.
I think of all the standing
at the arena.
Yeah,
it's Texas.
That's how
Maddie
it
talked
is.
about. Cass talked about it last night.
Yeah.
Cass played in Texas for Houston when he was in the Wild organization. They did that there, even for AHL games. His lovely wife, Mandy, is a Texas girl. And even on her Instagram yesterday, she's like, that's just how we do sports. Like at football games,
they just like to stand.
They stand. It's a thing. Is it annoying for those that are not used to it? Sure. But if you haven't watched a Dallas Stars game, they always do it in the last 5-10 minutes when the game's on the line type of thing. It's how they watch sports. It's part of their sports culture. Get used to it. When the Oilers and Stars are in Dallas in this series, we're going to see it at least a couple more times, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe 3.
Well, Lieutenant Eric called a sweep. He's feeling pretty good about his prediction today.
He's a saucy little nugget, isn't he?
He's feeling really good about his prediction today.
Oh, so baby.
I like that he's stuck with his guns. He's all fired up today, obviously, after the win last night. Speaking of being fired up today, how about our announcement on the Nielson Show this morning?
Love it.
Of the $100,000 hole-in-one. We are teaming up with Golf Town as the presenting sponsor, and we are going to give 25 people a chance to take a swing at $100,000.
Huge.
Yeah, qualifying begins on Monday. You'll qualify on all of the shows throughout the day. And then we'll take, so for example, Monday you qualify Nielsen Show, Hangout, Lock Shop, Oil Stream.
Boom.
And then on Tuesday morning, you qualify that again. But on Tuesday morning, we will call one of the 4 people that qualified on Monday, and you will be the winner for Monday, and you will win a spot in the $100,000 hole-in-one. And Tommy, I mean, your odds are better if you're a decent golfer, but you never know what happens when you step up there and hit that ball, man. It might just be meant to be.
My dad is a horrible golfer, and I love him.
Does he have a hole-in-one?
He's got one.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, did he dunk it nice, or did he kind of like bounce it off and it rolled onto the green and rolled up and in? Like,
I wasn't there, but from my understanding from those who were with him, it wasn't the prettiest shot. It was at Ravencrest.
At Ravencrest.
And it found a way.
Yeah.
It took a couple of fortuitous hops.
I mean, there's been times that I've hammered a tree next to the green and it ends up within 2 feet of the hole. I'm like, no problem. It's what I was trying to do.
Yeah, sure. He's got it. You just never know. And I think the qualifying, you have a pretty good chance to get in. I think it's a 1 in 4 shot every day.
Yeah, so every day you'll have a 1 in 4 shot of getting a swing. I mean, you got to qualify, and that'll be tough because there'll be thousands, lots of people trying to qualify in the day. But once you get in, you've got a 25% chance of having the swing.
To get into the final. Yeah. Which is going to be great. 180-yard par 3, 17.
The 17th at the ranch.
There's water on the left. It's elevated green. Bit of a mind bleep. And
the front tees there, are the front tees what you usually would play in a tournament?
No, they back it off because
usually,
there's usually like a vehicle you can win or something up for grabs on that hole. But it can get to some golfers, not just guys, but ladies too, because of the visual of it, and it has a nice backdrop with the woods behind it. So you got to be pretty sharp with your shot and chuck a dart.
Not every day is 1 in 4.
I thought we just established this.
What are you talking about, Wannick?
Friday, we'll also have the Hello Hockey VIP.
Oh, 1 in 6.
Oh, okay, so 1 in
Fridays.
6 on Fridays and the weekend. Okay. There you go. Sorry, Maddie wanted to correct
Such
us.
a party pooper.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
Oh,
Thursday, 1 and 4.
Qualified for
Friday,
the
Saturday, Sunday combined.
And
1
you
and
have a
6 shot.
chance to be 1 in 25 because if someone sinks it on, say, the 6th shot, it's over.
It's over.
Well, that is a full legality thing that we need.
Yeah,
It's a full legality thing
we
that we
legally
need.
can't allow.
Buzzkill Killington
Yeah.
over here. We're having such a nice Friday show.
You know what I'll say about this? Matt, close the door.
$1,000.
Matt, leave us alone.
Get out of here.
Leave us alone.
No, I don't.
Now we're all distracted. I can't remember. I was gonna say that's
Ruins it.
That's 17th of the ranch. And I don't know
Yeah.
if it's the trees behind it or what. But there have been some times where I've like smoothed one and I'm like, oh, that's real nice. And it'll go over. Like right over. It's very, I don't know, the depth there is,
Depth
it messes with,
perception, yeah.
messes with me a little
And
bit.
you get a little bit of a gust, and it could carry that ball. I mean, it depends.
It's
how,
still way better than when we used to do the hole-in-one contest out there when we were with
range.
and we did it at the range. I remember the first time. What did we do that twice?
Yeah, I think so.
I think we did it 2 times back at 1260. And I remember the first time, nobody told me it was on the range until like 6 weeks into the contest. And then they're like, we gotta go set up the range for it. I was like, what are you talking about? They're like, we're doing the hole-in-one contest on the range. We're shaving down a part of the range and putting a hole in. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And it's just because the old place was a little too cheap to get the right insurance to do it on an actual.
How did we
green.
get it when we're like 7 full-time dudes or 6 full-time dudes with like 4 or 5 part-timers?
I mean,
How did we figure this out? How did we get a beer and a birdie booze?
it's amazing what you can do when you are just allowed to do whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like, so qualifying will begin on Monday. Right, Maddie? It's on Monday. It's not this weekend, right? Monday. Yeah, that's what I thought. Anyway, qualifying will begin on Monday for the $100,000 hole-in-one contest brought to you by Golf Town. And Father's Day is just around the corner. Hint, hint, Marshall and Muzz, if you're watching today.
Shout out to Murray B for the connection at Golf Town.
Yeah. Oh, man,
Yeah.
Murray's a beauty.
We got to give Murray B
Yeah,
credit.
yeah. We got to get out with Murray. That's
We
what gotta
will
do,
get
yeah.
out with Murray. I know he wants to golf. I haven't even swung a club, embarrassingly, this spring.
Either have I. And I'm
I
going on
know.
a golf trip in 10 days. I texted the boys last night. I was like, hey, I haven't even played yet this year.
Yeah, Mark over at Cattail was texting me today, and he's like, have you played yet? Our course is in much better shape. And I was like, I'm sorry, I haven't even gone to the range. I'm a joke right now, more so than usual.
Yeah. You know what?
in golf.
My first round of the year is usually one of my better ones. So I'm going to save it for this trip with the boys and I'll come out flying. And then I usually go, once I start to think about golf, I suck the big one. I couldn't, if I had a shot at $100,000, I would shank it 100% guaranteed. Because up here, I can't handle it on the golf course.
Get the thoughts out of your head,
Yeah.
nice and smooth like butter.
All right. What time do you get? Well, hello hockey tomorrow.
Hello Hockey at 10. Dave Pagnotta is booked. I got to catch up with Belsey. He's filling in for you on Oil Stream for a couple of days in the coming weeks. too.
Yeah. Because not this upcoming week, but
2 weeks from now.
yeah. Exactly.
Also, I get going at 4:30 with YouTube Trev and Matt Cassian on the GCL
4:30?
Diesel pregame show, Oil Stream pregame show,
Nice.
live from this studio.
Can you imagine if they're coming home up 2-0? Holy
It ain't
smokes!
well. It could
it's
happen.
possible. It's possible.
And it doesn't mean that anything is over. This is going to be a dogfight, guys. This is going to be a dogfight. That's how I see this.
I
series.
said this morning that if Stuart Skinner plays the way he played last night, the rest of the playoffs, Oilers are winning the Stanley Cup.
Dallas is going to be better tomorrow. That's all I'm going to say. Edmonton needs to elevate.
Oh, it's going to be a good one. Looking forward to watching that one. GCL Diesel pre- and post-game show tomorrow right here. Hello Hockey as well tomorrow right here live on Edmonton Sports Talk. That's going to do it for the Oil Stream today. Thanks to Scottie Upshall for hopping on from Missing
great.
Curfew podcast as well. And was that the first F-bomb we've had here?
Nope.
Dave Jameson. Did Dave Jameson do it?
I think
who was it?
Dean Millard had one.
Millard?
Someone had one.
Unbelievable.
Whatever.
It doesn't matter, I guess. All right, for Tommy Gazzola, I'm Dustin Nielson. Enjoy your weekend, everybody.